more of X dividends than just growth, then you're going to be getting more cash back every month and every quarter off of your stocks already. Now, this has absolutely nothing to do with what you're going to be dealing with your dividend rotation strategy. But if you're doing buy and holds and you're going to buy and hold 40 stocks, then you would be able to then have the other 5 or 10 stocks that you're rotating out every quarter in the rotation, which helps you have a certain level of stocks that are not moving in that that qualified tax exempt status, and then you also have for the rest of it in the dividend rotation that's going to be taxed normally. You're going to have those stocks rotated out where you have no issues. Now, granted, you could have a portfolio of 40 where 10 of them you're going to be rotating out with dividend rotation, and then the rest of them you're going to be doing buy and holds. But regardless of how you work it out, you want to be able to make sure that you're getting money every month off of your portfolio to help you expand your portfolio. And the largest quantity of dividends possible, the better it is for you. So, what we're going to be trying to do on Tuesday is telling you how to set that up. Monday, we're going to be talking about taxes, not taxes, FICO scores and credit scores. We're going to be telling you how to improve your credit score so that you can learn how to get things done the way you need it to be done on your credit score so that you can be able to qualify to hopefully buy your house coming soon. And speaking of buying a house, it's interesting to note that Donald Trump has recently made changes to the FICO score for that. And then he also made more changes to promote your ability for your kids to be able to do something down the line by creating a Trump account for the kids that allows you to for all the children that are born in 25 between 2025 and 2028 to receive $1,000 one time in an account that will stay there until the children are 18, and then the kids will be able to do something with that, whether they put it towards their education, put it towards their house, buying a house, or put it towards starting up a business. It depends on how much pre-tax money that the parents put into the account, and then it stays there for 18 years. And then once it matures, or once the kid matures, it will be there for your kids to be able to hit the ground running. Um, Depending upon how much you have to put aside for your kids, depends on how successful your kids will be in the future. But he did that, which is another change. We're going to be talking about that next week, Tuesday. So we've got the credit score this Tuesday, the maximized 40 stock portfolio for maximum profits this week, Tuesday. We've got a new country we're going to be talking about this week, Wednesday. And then next week, Wednesday, we're going to have a different country. Now, today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, today's Saturday, we're talking about another way to improve yourselves. So we're going to be talking about this dating dilemma that really hasn't changed. And we're going to be talking about what we can do to improve that. And while we're talking about what we're going to be doing to improve that, we're also going to be speaking on other areas of how to make some changes with the current dynamic. Remember, tomorrow is our questions and comments from the fans. So we're going to be able to go over any questions that you have that you did not have. And apparently, we have two ways for comments to be seen right now. We have the comment section is directly seen right here on the bottom right side of the screen. So now you got to be even more careful about what you say, but any appropriate comments will also be seen right here because I typically highlight them when we have very meaningful comments in here. And any inappropriate comments that start getting ridiculous will be removed. So while they're over here in the corner in our 16:9 format instead of our 9:16 format, I will be a little bit more strict about the inappropriateness of the trolls that come through the channel. So note that, as you can see, there's a link there for individuals on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you see that link, you can click that link and come onto the show and be seen in real time from any one of those platforms. It is a highly interactive platform. So if I see your comment, I will get back to you on your comment. When the comments start becoming too much, we'll work something out at that point. Um, but let's go ahead and get things started because I was trying to start this bad boy on time, but as you've seen, we had technical difficulties and I probably edit that out in the beginning. But like I told you before, I don't do too much editing. I had some guy contact me really weird and he's like, oh man, I can help your platform be better. And I'm like, wait, the metric says that I'm operating in like the top 10% in my niche. Oh yeah, but I can make you do better. I'm like, I don't think so, guy. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. We'll determine how things happen in a few different changes because YouTube's made a bunch of changes, and those changes are changing the algorithm, and it's also changing the involvement of the people that watch the show. So we'll see. Anyway, if you're a guy, because this is a male-driven podcast from the male's perspective, but ladies, this is not a red pill, blue pill, black pill podcast. This is a podcast of uniformity, and I give you guys information from the male's perspective, but it is beneficial for both men. Just got to look at it from the other side of the fence. So, women have problems in society, men have problems in society, but they're not the same problem. The money problem is the same, but how we get it, how we use it is different. How we interact with one another are different. Our priorities are different. And as a result, when I approach any concept, social interaction, I approach it from one side and then I reapproach the exact same concept from the opposite side, enforcing the fact that uniformity speaks on the fact that the outcome must be the same or it doesn't make sense. And here I'll make this and that where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. We have a habit of trying to make it make sense. So the goal is to make it work for you. The goal is not to just entertain you today. The goal is to make it work for you. So problems that happen in your daily life, whether it is social interactions with your friends, your family, your workplace, colleagues, coworkers, people in traffic, or your romantic partner, or even your kids. All of these things lead to your ability to uh, be successful in your personal life. And it also leads to you being successful in your business life. And that's why, even though the title was talking about the dilemmas of dating, you walked into the show and we were talking about stocks and trading and business and finance. This wasn't a Rick roll. We actually work on business and finance and investing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then personal development Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Half of the week, we're trying to help you make more money, and the other half of the week, we're trying to help you make better decisions for your life. That's the full dynamic of this podcast. So you'll be able to get something different every day, and we're just trying a new format, and so that started in our favor. But if you're a guy who feels like you've been falling hard in this dating platform. And ultimately some of us might even be feeling like we're failing the modern dating platform. I've got a buddy I play chess with on a regular basis, and he's a bar buddy. And notice there's a difference between a friend, there's a difference between homeboys and best friends for life, this, that, and the third, and situational friends. Situational friends are individuals that you hang out with in specific situations, and locational friends are individuals that you hang out with in specific locations. And you have to have respect for them and demand a respect from them based on their value in your life. Your network is supposed to be trifold. You know how people talk about the inner circle. Your inner circle are the people that are closest to you. Your outer circles are people that are less closer to you. But just like atoms, the outer circles, you have different rings of outer circles. The changing of dynamics in your relationship is based on how much you benefit from each other the closer you get to one another. So, Bar Buddy, uh, met him in a location. He seemed like a pretty cool dude. Seemed like he had some issues with being lonely. I'm very social when I'm outside, but I don't like people. Either way, he has this problem where he can't find himself a date, but he drinks a lot. And the thing is that I tell him, hey, you might be able to sustain a stable relationship if you tone that down some. Because one thing I do understand is that ladies that want success, that want stability, that want peace in their life, 35, 40, 50 years old, is not going to want a man that's drunk 7 days a week. And ladies, if I'm wrong, please chime in and tell me. But my understanding is that ladies do not want a guy that's drunk 7 nights a week. So if he makes that change, he'll improve. He comes and hits me up on a regular basis, but he feels like he's failing in the modern dating platform, and that's what's got him drinking. So he's self-medicating, and that's making the situation work because now he's socially unappealing because every time he's seen in society, he's never sober. but he's only doing that because he's sad and depressed. You got to understand, and I want you guys to hear this. It is not entirely your fault that you're failing in the modern dating platform, and you're definitely not alone in that. The game often feels rigged, but that doesn't mean that you guys can't win, because in tonight's show, we're going to break down why so many men are struggling. And I'm going to give you guys a real strategy to find genuine connections here in 2025. So this isn't about cheesy pickup lines or faking a personality. This is about understanding the system that you're in and learning how to navigate with your sanity and self worth intact. This is very important. Let's start by stating the obvious. Something feels broken. If you've been there in the dating scene recently, you've probably felt it. Uh, you probably felt out of place, but you also should understand that there is a sense of frustration, confusion, maybe even a deep, gnawing loneliness like the one that I mentioned that my homeboy's going through. You put in the effort, you swipe until your thumbs are sore. You try to start a conversation, and more often than not, it's silence, ghosting, one word replies, matches that fizzle out before they even begin. And it can feel like you're shouting into a void, and a silence that comes back is deafening. And the worst part of the story is this makes you tell yourself that you are the problem, that you're not tall enough, rich enough, handsome enough, or interesting enough. You start internalizing the rejection because, ladies, y'all don't understand that men experience this type of rejection their entire life. Women only start experiencing this type of rejection when they're no longer valuable to their society. Certain countries, that's at 25. Here in America, it's between 30 and 35 because after you stop being able to reproduce children naturally, excluding those women that have health issues or birth defects where they never could have done it, we're talking about the ones that were capable of doing it and then reach menopause and now are not capable of doing it. That's what we're talking about, because you do have an era of men that do want to build a legacy. So one of the things that makes women valuable is their ability to create that legacy for the man. And when they're no longer capable or willing to do that, they're no longer valuable to men, which will then reduce the desire to approach, which will then increase her experiences of rejection. Because regardless of how old you are, you deserve happiness. Regardless of what gender you are, you deserve happiness. But men are more appealing the older they get, and women are less appealing the older they get. Women are more appealing when they first start being legally able to date. Men are less appealing when they're first starting to legally be able to date. It's an influx. It is what it is. Um, and that's one of the things that we want to talk about, because this chips away at your confidence until dating feels less and less exciting, and it's not really feeling like an opportunity anymore, and more starting to feel like a grueling, unwinding chore. But what if that story was wrong? What if your personal struggles are actually a symptom of a much larger issue? Because the data is painting a very clear picture. Here in 2025, an overwhelming number of men are feeling the exact same way. A recent Gallup analyst of the data from 2023 and 2024 found that a full 1 in 4 young men in the United States aged between 15 and 35 report feeling lonely a lot of the day. That's a rate significantly higher than their female peers in a staggering 10% points higher than the median for young men. So I'm going to say that one more time. Ages 15 to 35, men are feeling lonely a lot of the day. And this rate is significantly higher than the females, where a guy is experiencing a 10% higher experience for young men in other wealthy nations. And this isn't just a few isolated cases, it's a silent epidemic of disconnection. Special shout out to Michael. He says 1 in 4 are gay. Okay. That isn't contributed to the loneliness. What Michael is implying is that statistics are showing that 1 in 4 men are gay. Or are you saying that 1 in 4 lonely men are gay? I really want to understand that dynamic real quick. Because that's wild. I wasn't expecting you to hit me with that one. He said I'm trying to so hard to be quiet. Nah, go ahead and slide in there. This is a highly interactive podcast. You know this, man. You come here every day. You with me every day, every topic. And you're like the number one most interactive, like super sport person on this channel with usually bringing the most factual information to the table. So the statistics are sound. Um, he said, yeah, your friend needs a guy friend, a gay friend. I didn't think to mention that to him. Uh, he's drunk all the time. He can blame it on the alcohol. But you also got to understand that back in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, back before internet existed, back before color TV was a thing, we had a society that believed that if you expressed your feelings, your hurt, your pain, that as a man you were not masculine, which puts you into the area of homosexuality, even though there are masculine homosexual men. There are feminine ones, but there are masculine homosexual men. It's just that it is socially unacceptable for men to express any levels of vulnerability in society without being demasculated for it. But the key point about this is that if 1 in 4 men are in fact, and actually I'm not sure if it's really because that's a large number to say one of that's saying that 25%. I thought that the entire LGBTQ community was about 15% of the American population. But if you have like 1 in 4 guys that are homosexual, and you also have uh, equivalently about the same with women, you're looking at like 25% of the population is tiptoeing around the LGBTQ community instead of 15%. Not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that's an interesting concept to wrap our minds around. But back to the loneliness aspect of this, we have to. Oh, there it is. Eh. We have to understand that when you're starting from a place of profound loneliness, the already high stakes game of dating can feel like a desperate search for validation, making every rejection feel catastrophic. And in tonight's show, this isn't another one of the 10 things that you're doing wrong on your profile shows, like we had covered this before to update your dating profile. We're going deeper today. We're pulling back the curtain on two colossal forces working against you. First, we'll dissect the profit driven design of modern dating apps. We're revealing how they are not, in fact, built to get you into a relationship. They're built to keep you single, swiping often, and paying for the platform. Second, we'll be exploring the immense and often contradictory societal pressure that has left many men feeling lost, confused, and emotionally puzzled. And in fact, at some degree, feeling emotionally paralyzed as well. So if you've ever felt invisible, inadequate, or just plain exhausted by the state of modern dating, know this: you are not alone, like I told you guys earlier. And more importantly, you are not powerless. So the first step to winning a rigged game is to understand how it played. So let's get into it. And real quick before we get started, because we're really going to get into why dating in 2025 feels like such an uphill battle. But I do gotta mention one time, I think it was last year, because I don't socialize anymore, and a lot of guys don't. Uh, and women have been wondering why. But funny thing, uh, I was in a Walmart one day, and this is a Walmart that I have shopped frequently, meaning once or twice a month, because I order everything. I don't go anywhere if I don't have to. I am like a COVID guy right now. So, go into the grocery store. There goes that flicker. Cut it off. See if it doesn't stop us. He said, let's get the game book out. Grab some paper and pencils. Remember to like and subscribe. Y'all already know I'm about to give y'all some inside scoops. I give y'all details on a regular basis so that y'all know what y'all can do to succeed. But let's wrap our minds around this real quick, because I really want to see how this is going to work out for us. But true, I went to this Walmart. I crossed the paths of the same employee more than one time each time that I went to the store, and she really took a liking to my dogs because I take my service dogs everywhere. And I was thinking, oh, maybe we can go somewhere, hang out at a park, something like that, take the dogs out to go play, get them some exercise, because they don't get exercise. They wake up, they go to sleep, they wake up again, they go to sleep. I feed them 2 times a day, take them to the bathroom, they go to sleep, because I don't get any exercise. They get sun, but that's about it. They get their exercise when I've got stuff to do, because when I got stuff to do, you're walking for 8, 10 hours. If I've got to walk 8, 10 hours, you got to walk to 8, 10 hours. Well, the he said, visual aids help to remember. Paste this info to your bathroom mirror. He is right, because out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, so I talked to the girl, and she made it seem like she was uh too good to accept the offer of going to hang out, go to a park, something like that, get to know one another, because one of her coworkers, which was another guy in the aisle, was sitting there looking at her response. And that kind of soured my observation, because I'm sitting over here thinking, it's like, I only come here twice a month. And as soon as they start dropping stuff off at my house on a regular basis, I'm only coming once a month. What is one time at a park? So I was like, you know what? Never mind. Fuck it. Give me that gallon of milk right there. Put it in my cart. Walked off. Went, paid, and that was the end of that. Now, I don't interact with people on a regular basis, because not because I'm antisocial. I just have been burnt out, which is what we're going to be talking about right now. And a lot of men that have experienced that burnout have decided that they're going to quote unquote retire out of the game, where they're not even going to try to approach women anymore. They're not even going to try to invest effort into communicating with women anymore. And any type of emotional validation that those men need, they will try to get that validation from their male best friends, or some type of common activity that they can do with the people in their environment. It can work, but the rest of that, the dopamine drips that you're not getting from the passion that you would have from that intimate interaction, you know, uh, you're not going to get that. Only having platonic relationships with everybody in your life is not going to give you what you would get from having that physical contact from a more involved adult engagement. But we're going to go ahead and go take a look at this, because the factors that are largely outside of your control are going to be the ones that we're going to address first. And we want to think of these as the powerful currents pulling you under before you even get a chance to swim. Now, we're going to break this down into two key areas: the digital battlefield of dating apps, and the confusing web of social expectations. Now, understanding these forces isn't about making excuses, it's about arming yourself with knowledge so you can stop blaming yourself for systemic failure. Now, let's be brutally honest about what a dating app is. Now, it's not a public service or a benevolent matchmaker. It's a for profit business, and its primary goal is to maximize revenue and users' engagement. And right there is the fundamental conflict of interest. If you're finding a lasting successful relationship through an app, you delete the app. You're a lost customer. The business model, therefore, isn't built on your success. It's built on your continued, often frustrating participation. And they're likely uh, going to behave like casinos, designed to give you just enough hope to keep you playing, but rarely enough of a reward to let you walk away a winner. And how do they do this? It's an algorithm for dating, cost to play. He's actually correct. And you wonder, certain platforms like Facebook used to be just for college students, and then it blew up. Um, LinkedIn used to be just for business people, and then it blew up. It is still a little bit more professional, but these apps are based off of uploads, clicks, downloads, interactions, utilizations. It is the more you're on it, the more you respond to the emails that you get to get back on the app, the more you respond to the notifications that you get to get back onto the app, the more you're communicating on the app, the more the algorithm is uh, buffering. It's an eHarmony. Well, you got eHarmony, you got blackpeoplemeet.com, you've got Asian Cupid, you've got Bumble, uh, Tinder. Um, I can't think of all of them. There's a lot of them though. There's quite a few of them that we've covered on the show over the past few months. You've got like Hottie.com and stuff to that effect, where these are all dating platforms where the goal, they give you a free membership scenario, right? To start with the free trial period. And that free trial period gives you just enough accessibility and usage of the platform to make you want to pay for the platform, but not enough to get you to be successful on the platform and walk away. So, first, there's a phenomenon of the invisible man. If you're an average guy, you've likely felt this. You create a profile with decent photos and a thoughtful bio, and you're met with crickets. You swipe right on hundreds of profiles and get maybe one or two matches. This isn't just bad luck. For many apps, it's a feature, not a bug. It's often referred to as algorithmic match trolling or trolling. Now, it's widely believed that many apps use complex algorithms, some inspired by the ELO rating system from chess, right? To rank users based on perceived desirability. This creates a ruthless hierarchy. The more likes you get, the more you're shown to others, desirability, users. But if you're new or don't fit a narrow mold, the algorithm can effectively bury your profile. You become invisible. This is where the business model kicks in. Feeling frustrated, the app has a solution. Pay for a boost or a super like. They create a problem of invisibility and then sell you the solution. This creates a vicious cycle. The less success you have, the more you feel you need to pay, feeding the very system that profits from your insecurity. Second, these apps are engineered for addiction. The swipe mechanism is a variable ratio reward schedule, the same psychology principle that makes slot machines so compelling. Ironically, it's the same system that we have here on YouTube with swiping up and down with the videos that you're watching. You swipe, you swipe, You swipe, no reward. Then suddenly, a match, a hit of dopamine. This intermittent reinforcement keeps you hooked, compulsively coming back for more, even when the experience is negative and draining. And I can give you an example of that. Flipping through the profiles, some of the ones that you look at, you're not really interested in. Some you look at, you're really not interested in. If you have too many, what we call unattract, I'm going to say appropriately, unattractive women that we're looking at, where it's not that they're not attractive, they're just not attractive to our taste, the person looking at the photo. And the dynamic is that if too many of those happen, you're going to assume that the entire platform is like that, which will make you log off and not log back on. So, what the algorithm will do is feed you different types of individuals. The ones you swipe left on, they're less likely to present to you. The ones that you swipe right on, they're going to more often present to you. The more often that you interact with a uh, profile type, the more frequently that profile type gets shoved in your face. Now, the more often that gets shoved in your face, now you're liking every single photo that you're given, and then you are now curated into a group of people that looks for that specific type of scenario. However, there's still always that one photo of that one person where like you have that really huge rush of dopamine where like wedding bells are going off in your head, like you wish you could talk to this person. You would love to spend the rest of your life with this kind of person. Some guys will look at that person and think, oh man, sex with this person would be great, regardless of what your motivation is. That hit of dopamine, it doesn't happen with every single profile that you come across. But when it does happen, you put more effort into that particular type of profile, which means that that might be the profile that triggers you to buy the platform. That might be the profile that triggers you to re up on the profile. That might be the profile that gets you to interact more often to force you to start paying for the platform. Either way it goes, the app has gamified the search for human connection, turning potential partners into a deck of cards and reducing dating to a shallow numbers game. Finally, the sheer volume of options creates a paradox of choice. When people have endless options, they find it harder to choose and are less satisfied with their eventual choices. And this leads to flaky behavior, conversations that die out quickly, and the feeling that someone better is just one swipe away. For men who, on average, receive far fewer matches, each interaction feels more significant. So when you get ghosted, a behavior experienced by a huge number of users is hard hit time. That one potential connection vanishes, reinforces feelings of inadequacy. And this has absolutely nothing to do with the hits that we actually do come across, where those hits tend to be scams, where people are posing as women and then they're trying to convince you to sign on to the WhatsApp or whatever, and then a few days later they're trying to get you to send them money. Studies have found a strong correlation between the frequency of dating app use and higher levels of depression, anxiety, and psychological distress. So you're not imagining it. The system can make you feel bad because a dissatisfied user is often engaged in the platform, and engaged user is a profitable one for the business. Now, let's zoom out from the digital world and look at the broader societal landscape, which is arguably even more complex. The rules of dating haven't just changed, they've become confusing, contradictory, messy, leaving many men caught in the crossfires. The most significant pressure is the male loneliness epidemic we touched on earlier. Studies consistently show that men tend to have smaller friend groups and are less likely to have close friends that they can confide in. So, one recent survey found that two-thirds of men feel they can't openly discuss their loneliness with friends. So many men enter the dating world not from a place of abundance with a full social life, but from a place of deep seated isolation. And this raises the stakes immensely because this person is going to go from having absolutely no social life to whatever social life that he can maintain with that person. That's also going to compromise their decision making skills because you might want some excitement in your life because you have too much of a routine and you're liking a person that has too much activity in their life just so that you can try to get a hint of that activity. The downside to that type of process puts you in a less satisfactory relationship because you're not going to want to go out as often as that other person, and the other person is not going to want to stay at home and do nothing as often as you do. We had a couple of people come onto the show talking about that before, where their partner is a couch potato, they're a gym rat, and they want their partner to go out with them and hang out and stuff and work out and whatever, and their partner doesn't feel like doing it, and it soured their opinion. You knew what you got when you got into the relationship. You got to really start making a good decision. Now, a date isn't just a date; it becomes a potential cure for a painful condition, and that desperation, however unintentional, can be a major barrier to forming a relaxed, genuine connection. Compounding this is the masculinity trap. Society sends men a dizzying array of mixed messages. On one hand, there's still pressure to be the initiator, to be confident, decisive, and financially successful. On the other, there's a necessary call for men to be more emotionally expressive and vulnerable. Trying to walk that tightrope is tough. To be assertive and you be seen uh, as toxic. And I'm going to try to say that one more time. To be too assertive, you'll end up being seen as toxic. Being too passive or emotionally open, and you might be seen as weak. And typically, the old-fashioned society that still is around today, when a masculine man is being seen as weak, they then get more emasculated and start being identified as homosexuals. So it is a very brutal, which whether or not you're dating a female or dating a male doesn't change how masculine you can be. So I don't understand why they come off of that because you still have the buys and all of the others, the pans and A's and all of the other types that are out there, and there are a bunch of alphas in each one of those categories. So I don't understand where the correlation comes from, but this confusion can lead to paralysis, where men who are otherwise successful and confident find themselves frozen and unsure of what their role is supposed to be. Then there's a persistent stigma around men's mental health. So while conversations is slowly changing, a deep-seated belief remains for many men to struggle is to fail, and to ask for help is to admit weakness. So when the loneliness and rejection become overwhelming, the instinct to often retreat further inward starts to kick in, and this creates a dangerous feedback loop. Loneliness fuels dating anxiety, dating fuels uh, failure, failure deepens the loneliness, and stigma prevents you from seeking the very support that could break the cycle. He said, "This is this new format ad driven now." Uh, It might actually be. How many ads have you been hit with? How many ads have you been hit with? Because usually I come off of the shorts reel, this the 9 by 16 shorts reel, and now I'm operating off of the 16 by 9. So is it giving you some ads? Because I can't see the ads from my side of the screen. Um, that would be very inconvenient, but it would probably bypass a lot of the lag that happens on the podcast today. I don't know. This is the first time that I'm trying this format, so I want to know what you guys think. If you prefer the other one over this one, definitely let me know. Uh, because as I get the internet thing under control, because we got to call them and reset up the internet. The internet kicked back off a second time. That's why we're lacking, because we're on a different router. Uh, so we're gonna have to reset the internet again, and that way it'll work better. But uh, how successful the 16 by 9 is these days. Two so far. Well, it's two in an hour. That's not that bad. Uh, typically you accidentally swipe away and then swipe back when you're on a shorts reel. And then I think those are like the automatic skippables where as soon as you see the skip button, you can skip back. I don't know. If you guys end up not liking it, you let me know, and then I'll end up going back to the 9 by 16. We'll it's a trial and error situation. I was gonna give it a go for at least a few days to a week and see how well it works out. And then oh, it makes it harder to follow. It makes it harder to follow. Oh, yeah, that would I don't want you guys to miss out. Well, the thing is that when it breaks to commercial and then it bounces back, oh wait, it should pick you up. Maybe a window within a window. I can't control how YouTube throws it up there. It literally like replaces the live with whatever you had. Does it pick up where the last statement was, or does it start where we currently are at the live, where you got to kind of go back? Three now? Oh God. Oh God. Um, so over the course of 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, you might experience like five. Let me um I'm not too sure. So what happens is the reason why, oh, okay. Well, the reason why you experience the ads is because you don't have YouTube Prime or YouTube Premium. And that's the reason, one of the reasons why you're getting the ads. But the other reason why you're getting the ads is because that's where the monetization comes from for the platform, the uh, as opposed to the 9 by 16, where it's ad share, because somebody's getting the ads. It's just not everybody's getting it. But either way, we'll figure it out. I'm going to try to see what I can do over the next week with the platform and the internet, and then see if this works for us. And if it does, we might run this route. But if it doesn't, if less people are seeing us and everything like that, then I might go back to the 9 by 16. I'll keep you guys updated on it. But today was the first day I wanted to try it, specifically because we have the over here, we have the comments you guys can see in the corner. I don't know how well you can see that on the cell phone, but you also can see the comments right here, and that's like even better. So, and the stock option is better seen down here at the bottom for everybody that's following us for the dividend rotation strategy. So, I wanted to see how well this works. You know me, I'm always trying to improve for bigger and better things. Now, finally, the script for dating has been completely rewritten in modern times, but nobody got a copy of the new playbook. We've been talking about this on the show for the last couple years. Questions like who pays, who initiates physical intimacy, who initiated physical intimacy is a very, very problematic question that has never been answered. Uh, Look, hey, I'm with you, bro. I ain't paying for shit. uh, they charging too much damn money for YouTube Premium. I ain't paying for shit. I'll flicker. I'll flicker. back and forward. You got to rewind and catch up. That's fine. Rewind and catch up. I'll double back. No worries. Because with everything that's going on, I'll double back. I'll keep the conversation going. I'll look and make sure that you're still in here. Um, because when we have a lot of interactive comments, you're not going to lose too much of your spot. It does prevent you from being able to follow along in real time in a conversation. If I was answering your question and then it cuts to commercial and then it comes back from the commercial and your question is answered, but I rattle on for a while, so you can always rewind and be like, ah, yeah, okay, and this. I don't know if it puts you back where you stopped or if it puts you where I am right now. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But the intimacy thing is really an issue, and one of the reasons why the intimacy thing is an issue is because I've told you guys before, certain states like Louisiana has is like castrating guys for getting caught with that charge when the female complains about her interaction with the man by, reporting it to the police. That becomes catastrophic. When men are mistreating women, justice is supposed to occur, but we also have to take into account that there are misunderstandings and lapses in communication that lead to men getting unintentionally in trouble, and then other scenarios where men are being lied to and deceived that lead men into another area of trouble where you have to check that real ID, look for that star, look for the validation of this identification card, make sure they're grown kind of stuff. And then you also have the vindictive ones that deliberately report false claims in order to get back at you because they're bitter and angry. And those make it harder for the ones that really were the victim of a crime, because the one that's crying wolf out of spite is not only hurting the man who didn't do anything wrong, but they're also hurting the women who did have something wrong done to them. Because every time a person that cries wolf is proven to have lied, that makes every other person that says something ultimately be perceived as a liar as well. And it's not healthy. But we have to really understand that in the interest of masculine men being the initiator, the assertive individual, the one that's supposed to make the first move. The problem with that and physical intimacy is if you assert the first move as the dominant entity, your dominance can turn into sexual assault. And the safest way to function is to allow her to be the physical intimacy initiator, because if she came on to you and she led the way, she can't file the complaint against you because she did everything. But then you are not the initiator. You are not the masculine, assertive, you know what you want, you go for it kind of guy, which is then a turn off for the woman. So you're in a scenario where you don't really know how to perform. Then you also have this situation where you ask yourself, how do you show interest without being overbearing or being deemed a creep? And then you also have to recognize in some situations where the location where you meet the person is also a problem, where the person that you're talking to might not be readily attracted to you communicating with them in that spot. Like a guy can't come up and try to talk to a girl at a playground full of kids, because a single guy at a playground full of kids is made out to be a creep. But it's a public park. You should be able to go there regardless of who you are. But because it's a public park full of kids, all of the women there who might not even be mothers of children, the women there will treat you horribly because you're in that location. So you got to be careful about what you're doing and how you do it. The old rules feel outdated, but the new ones seem to change from person to person. And this lack of clear framework leaves many men feeling like they're constantly guessing and getting it wrong, because we don't know what the other person expects and we only have one chance to do it right. So when you combine the digital market designed to exploit your insecurities with the social context rifle, uh, with and contradictory expectations, it's no wonder so many men are struggling. It's a perfect storm, but recognizing that these factors isn't the end, it's the beginning. You'll be able to accept the fact that once you understand the game, you can start to change how you play it. Now, we spent a lot of time dissecting the problem. It's easy to hear all of that and feel a sense of despair, like the odds are just too stacked against you. But this is the pivot, because while you can't single handedly change a multi billion dollar industry or rewrite decades of social conditioning, you have an incredible amount of power over the one thing that truly matters, which is yourself. Michael says, you better not do that, but a woman can, and I understand. That's one of the things that we have wrapped our minds around for the longest period of time, is that women, more often than not, will more likely put themselves in a position to be seen and be interacted to by a man, and no man will shun that behavior pattern unless she's doing it in front of the TV, in front of the game, stuff to that effect. But men, if they do too much in the wrong spot, they're gonna get it. And one of the things about upsetting a woman, frustrating a woman, making a woman feel insecure is that her volatile behavior can erupt in a physically violent fashion. And it is socially acceptable for women to be abusive even in public, where that's not acceptable for men. And then the other masculinity scenario is that it is not socially acceptable for men to call the police and claim that they're being attacked by a woman. They're Even when the police show up to respond to the call, the male police officers will laugh at you for reporting that you're getting beaten up by a woman. But legally, as a man, you can't hit her back. So if you're emasculated for complaining about the assault charge, and you're physically not able to defend yourself because that is socially unacceptable, now you're just supposed to stand there and take a beating, or run and regroup and pick your pride up off the ground and try to start over. Now, that's a lot to take in. Um, your mindset, your strategy, and your definition of success are all within your control. And this section is about taking that power back. Oh, we already covered that one. I do that when we can. I do understand. So the most powerful move that you can make in a rigged game is to refuse to play by those rules. This doesn't mean you have to delete your app tomorrow, though that might be the right call for some. It means deliberately disengaging from the psychological traps that they set. The first most crucial shift is to redefine what a win looks like. So, for most, the goal is to get a girlfriend, some to find a frequent sex partner and call it a girlfriend. That's an outcome based goal. And it's a dangerous one because it's entirely dependent on another person, something you cannot control. When your success is tied to an outcome that you can't control, you're setting yourself up for constant anxiety. Like I said, women, I have found, like to nurture their man. At least that's what happens to me. Now, you at 70 years old have found that women like to nurture older men. They do. They really do. Um, Women of all ages find it very easy to be very emotionally available and very helpful and very cooperative and conformative to older men. They don't do that for men under 60. They don't do that for men under 60. Four. Okay, that's almost one every 25 minutes. Not that bad. Um, we'll see. I might switch back over to the other one tomorrow. We'll see. I'll check the dynamics by the end of the show. Um, and that's one of the things that the middle-aged men, 25, well, middle-aged men are not 25. Middle-aged men are like 35 to 45, but the middle-aged men, when they start between 25 and 30, they start they do not experience the uh, positive sides of interactions with women that clearly are not interested. Then you have the men that are 35 to 45 that are no longer chasing sex, that are more focused on long term commitment. Those men are now putting in less effort on quantity, putting more focus on quality, and they're still not getting that catering behavior. Now, once they get tired of trying, and anywhere between 50 and 60, and they're either focusing on their grind or they're retired, living life, no longer interested in any type of interaction at all, that the women start becoming more uh, friendly when you're no longer seen as a participant in the dating game. You're almost like the forbidden fruit because you're a player that never plays, and that's a big difference. No, not bad. Okay, as long as it's not that bad. All right. So instead, you want to shift your focus from an outcome that you can't control to the outcome of uh to an outcome that outstands the process. Your new goal is no longer to get a partner. Your new goal is to become the type of man who would be a great partner. And I think that's how the older guys get it. Accidentally, just being the guy that would be the great guy for the girl to get with. And then the women see that nobody's paying attention to that guy, and then all the women starts flocking over there trying to get that guy. So if your new win isn't getting her number, it's having a genuine, interesting conversation for 10 minutes. Regardless of what happens next, your new win is stepping out of your comfort zone and approaching someone respectfully, no matter their reaction. Your new win is going on a date and focusing on being present and authentic rather than trying to perform or trying to get them to come back to your house for the night or something like that. Hopefully, you understand the difference between the two. There are things you have 100% control over, and there are things that you don't. The young guys are like bucks in rutting season. Yeah, older guys are playing on a different field. You are right. You are definitely right. Older guys do not put in the same type of effort because that old saying we've talked about it on the show quite a few times. That old saying of instead of running down the hill and trying to get as many as we can, we walk down the hill and get whatever's left. Because rushing into something, you're going to put a lot of effort into it. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to find yourself burnt out. You're also going to find yourself in a position where the desperation can be sensed from the other person. You know how they say that um, predators can smell fear? Well, in the dating game, women are more predatory than men, and women won't admit that. But women can smell desperation. Women can smell fear on a man, and it is not attractive. The modern nation calls it being thirsty, but desperation, you can see it, you can smell it, you can feel it. And when they recognize it, it is an extreme turnoff, and they reject the man before they find out if the man is a good man to be with. So if you could care less that she exists, Her interest in the mystery that is you will never be subsided by the desperation of your effort. The harder you try to get to know her, the more desperate you're perceived to be. But the women want to be pursued as if they're a prize to be won. But if they're a prize to be won, they're you got to recognize that a prize is a trophy on a shelf that holds no other value other than being obtained. If a woman turns out to be a prize to be won, she is acquired by the man as a prize with no other value than to be obtained. Women should not be behaving in the mindset and fashion that she is a prize to be won. She's supposed to present herself as a person to be partnered with, a person with values and visions, with skill sets and contributions to the relationship that can be benefited from by both parties, which means that she should not be parading herself around as a prize to be won. The difference in mentality makes a huge dynamic shift. Uh, Either we walk down and get them all. The young bull can't wait. Now, the second mindset shift is to escape the validation trap because dating apps have trained us to equate our self worth to our match rate. You must consciously serve this link. A for profit algorithm has zero understanding of your kindness, your humor, or your character. Your value as a person is not and never will be determined by your number of right swipes. How do you do this? You build a life outside that dating app, and that life should give you a rock solid sense of self worth. And this isn't optional, this is the foundation. If you invest in your hobbies, learn new skills, get in shape for you, not for them, nurture your friendships, when you build a life you are genuinely proud of, two things will happen. First, you're no longer needing validation from a partner because you are already validating yourself. Second, you become infinitely more interesting, and passion is magnetic. And that's what the older guys bring to the table, which is another reason why the women gravitate more around you at 70 years old because you could care less. You're fulfilled with the things that you do, whether she's with you or not. And your life is what you've already made it. Like I told you before, men spend 75% of their lives making themselves the success that they're going to enjoy for the remaining 25%. Some guys work themselves into the grave, but for the most part, we spend 75% of our life building ourselves up to the success that we benefit from the last 25% of our lives. Michael says, women want to be romanticized to feel special. But the funny thing about it is in life is that men want to feel special too. It is just not masculine for a man to complain about not feeling special. It is not masculine for a man to demand to feel special, which is why men emotionally suppress the desire to feel special. But you think about how good a man would feel to get one compliment a year because men do not get complimented at all ever for anything, including doing a good job, and women get complimented all the time for breathing. The difference between the two is that a woman could pass by a complete stranger and compliment his outfit, compliment his ability to be present in the moment. And these are going to be the same strangers, the men in her life that would come out of nowhere and help her change her flat tire. The guy that would come out of nowhere and help her lift something heavy, get that thing off the top shelf. The guy to catch the door for her because her hands are full. the guy that lets her in traffic, stuff to that effect. The uh, Men are treated like dirty old guys because they're breathing, not because they're catcalling her. But men are supposed to cater to the women at the demand when women want to be catered to, romanticizing the women when women want to be romanticized. But these very same women do not, on a regular basis, go out and show value to men just for being men. The more attractive a woman is, the more often men in society will buy her gifts and give her things and bring her places just because she's attractive. She could have absolutely no worth, absolutely no skills, just because she's attractive. When the attraction is gone, she no longer experiences that lifestyle. She starts having an identity crisis because she doesn't know what to do with herself because she can no longer achieve without trying. If women treated men the way women are treated by men, the dynamic would be so different. Michael said algorithms has no emotions and it's a machine. So non-living algorithms that is telling you what you can and can't do. That. And when was the last time you received flowers? Hey, I can tell you, uh, 19, 1991, I want to say. But they weren't for me. They were for me to give to somebody else. But that's the last time I received some. Micah said, "You look dapperly tonight. Here's some flowers." Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh shit, five. We're gonna see how well this works. We're gonna see how well this works. We're at least not getting kicked out of the live. We had the internet give us the middle finger. We're riding on the backup router right now, and it hasn't switched back. I tried to switch us back to the main router, but I'm just gonna let it run because we're gonna do this for another 45 minutes, uh, and then we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Now, the final mindset shift. So fifth fifth ad that hit fifth ad that hit you during the line. Jesus Christ. Ah, that's a little sus, my guy. So that's a very long name. Hello, Mr. Sus. I'm dating a man, but my parents, especially my father, doesn't approve me dating a man in his because he's 36 and I'm 24 now. We met when I'm 19 and started dating when I was 19. Any advice? Oh, oh, I'm a female. Look, when I started reading it, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I don't judge because you could have been a man dating a man. First thing I was going to talk about was the age group, but if you're a female, that's even better. So here's the thing. Um, the matrix is this. It is, and it typically goes into effect right around the guy being 22. It is 50% of the guy's age plus seven is a good match for him. And what that means is that if you're dating a guy that's 36, half of his age would be 18 plus seven, which would put you somewhere closer to uh, or no, 25. You're 24. So you're right there in a good spot. And the age difference is perfect for you guys because you're about 1 year younger than what would be the perfect age group for him. Now, the problem that you're going to have is it depends on how old your father is going to be because Michael says the age difference is fine and Michael's 70 years old and I agree with Michael. He says go and be happy, and you really should. You don't need to seek approval from your parents to explore this person. Now, the concern that you might have is that when he started talking to you when you were 19, but if you've been talking to him when you were 19, y'all been together for 5 years, and that means that y'all have another 20 years. You were legal when you started. That's a perfect age range. But again, what a lot of women and sometimes fathers might think about is the guy is old enough to be your dad because there's more than a 15-year age gap. He's 36, you're 24, not really 15-year age gap because that's like 12 years, but it starts getting really close. And people start getting weirded out. Women shame this more often when the man is approaching the woman and the woman is a younger age. Women will high five the girls because they found a stable man. But the fact is that the guy that you've got, if he loves you, cares you, cares for you, he prioritizes you, and then you as a woman are helpful and cooperative and you give him the opportunity to make those sound decisions, then you've got you a good one because men really start getting their shit together at about 30, 35 years old. And they really start mastering the fact that they got their shit together between 40 and 45 years old. And if he is 12 years older than you, he's guaranteed to die first outside of a car crash, which means you get his entire estate. So you ain't got to divorce him. You just got to help him build his wealth so that you've got an extra 15 years worth of satisfaction as a widow. That, which sounds harsh, but it is a dynamic that not too many people pay attention to. Michael says as long as the foundation is strong. I agree. If you went into the relationship with the right idea, he says older men on average uh, will marry a woman 15 years younger than them. So they have someone to take care of them as they age. That is true. So the older the man, the more often that the woman is more of a caretaker than she is a wife. But you also have to understand is that the older the man, the more often the woman has a very sweet spot deal where she doesn't really have to do much for the man besides keep him comfortable till he's dead. She says, I really care about my father's thoughts, but uh, this man that I he puts me first, and he never messed around on anything serious, so it never lasts. And that's the thing. Guys are going to play the field until they're about 30, 35 years old. They're not going to have their stuff together. Then you're going to see the girls, usually the ones that got their heads on their shoulders, are going to try to find a man at your age like you're doing right now. The other ones that are playing the field until they're 35 years old got it backwards because any kind of family that you could start with your partner, now's a good time to do it because between 24 and 30, your kid would be closer to 10. Your kid would be good to go to school. You'd be able to get them a babysitter if necessary. You could chase your career and still be a 20-year career before you're 50, but you're not going to get that if you're chasing your career until you're 40 and then you want to start a family. You can start a family first and then chase your career and balance the career family life, but you can't start a career first and then start a family because once you get so far up into your career is going to be too demanding for you to be a mother. So you have to find a balance between where you want to sit with your career versus where you want to sit with your family life. Now, it pertains to your father, you have to have an understanding with your father about exactly how good this guy is treating you and how well he's prioritizing you, and then try to encourage your father to put forth the effort to have that sit down with your boyfriend so that this will become a good thing. Eventually, fathers come around. Fathers always come around. They want their daughters to be happy. By the time you show him the engagement ring, he's going to support it. You just have to make sure that your boyfriend is positively approaching dad, having those heart to heart talks, reassuring dad that you're being well taken care of and you're being kept happy. And eventually, the family will come together. It is going to feel uncomfortable because you're 24. So if your dad is 37 or 38, that's something that he has to get used to because your husband is probably the same age as his brother, and that's going to make dad feel uncomfortable, but it's not something that's going to last where dad's never going to say, oh, it's going to be okay, because you're in a more satisfactory relationship because you've got the maturity that you need in the relationship, and he's got the cooperation from the woman that he needs in a relationship, which gives y'all a very good symbiotic relationship. She says, I guess it hurts to see my dad so upset even now about it. I really hope he attends my wedding when he proposes. He will. He will. It's expected. The only time that the parents don't go to the wedding is when you're irresponsible, you're running off with the guy, shotgun wedding kind of thing. You got pregnant, you sprung this on everybody. But if you guys have been doing this for 5 or 7 years now, and then you're communicating with dad regularly, and you guys maintain a rapport with one another, mom will bring dad to the wedding. He'll have a frown, but he'll still give you away because he wants you to be happy. Yeah, he just has an issue with the age, but he never wants to give him a chance to talk to him. Well, you don't have to. Okay, so remember, your dad is old school. It's not about them having just, okay, I want you to recognize this right here. Two men do not come into a room and sit down and have the same heart to heart talk that two women do. Two men will be sitting somewhere watching football, drinking a beer, and that's when the talk might pop up during halftime. Two men might be at a bar drinking a beer, shooting pool, and that might be where the talk pops up, re-racking up for the next game. Two men might will be doing an activity together, and while they're doing that activity together, during that activity, the walls of emotional insecurity break down, and those men start communicating with one another. Bringing your boyfriend over to your dad's house to talk to your dad is not the right approach. Bringing your boyfriend over to your dad to just exist in the same area as your dad is the way to get them to talk. You're not bringing them over there to talk. You're bringing them over there to hang out with your dad. That is how you change that dynamic. Because only my mom is willing to speak to him, and my brothers just cuss him out, and my other family members just ignore him. I hate that. Well, your brothers are supposed to curse him out because your brothers are supposed to protect you from society when your father can't do it. And the problem with your brothers is that they don't know what a good man looks like, because if they can't compare this guy to your dad, because that's the only model of a good man that they have is your father, then the problem you're going to have with that is that they're just going to run off every guy that you have. But you got to remind your brothers that the girl that your brothers date is somebody's sister also. And you've got to ask them how would they feel if they were the boyfriend of the girl that was being treated the way your brothers are treating your boyfriend. And once you start getting them to think about how hard they would have it if they really liked the girl and her brothers were treating them the way your brothers are treating your man, and that might change some, not all, of their behavior. They might at least just dial it back a little bit and give them evil looks. But you're not going to find a guy in your age group ever, really, because when you're 36, the 36-year-olds are going to be looking for 24-year-olds. That's never going to change. He said, I'm hoping to have uh, a family first, and I work and make a really good money, and my hours are reasonable. You might not get all of that. You'll get some of that. You might get the reasonable hours and the work-life balance, but it's going to have crappy pay, or you're going to get a lot of good money, or you're going to be dealing with no work-life balance. Um, you don't kill yourself over uh, the work. Being perfect. We just covered that on the show yesterday and the day before. Perfection is not the thing. You want to be able to accomplish it, and you want to be consistent about your capabilities to accomplish things. Why is your dad proposing? No, she wants her dad to be there for the proposal. That's what she that was a typo. You're right. He was born in the 70s, so I shouldn't be surprised. He tells me I'm his little girl, and he just doesn't think this is what's best for me. Well, of course, I know what it's like to try to make decisions as a father, and I can tell you that it is tough to do what is in the best interest of your child when your child disagrees with your decisions. And the more mature your child gets, the less your opinion as a father matters. But your design from the child's birth is to do what is in her best interest, not what makes her happy. You're supposed to try to make her happy after you do what's in her best interest. So, since her best interest and her happiness are not intertwined 100% of the time, the parents make it a point to not care if she's pissed off, just do what's in her best interest. And you, as the person, want to be happy regardless of what's in your best interest. And that is something that you're going to have to change your mindset of, is you have to understand why he is trying to make a decision that you are not happy with, and then mediate with him a equal resolution where you guys are both reasonably okay with the outcome. This way you don't have to get rid of the man that you've had for the last 5 years, and your dad is not behaving irregular around him at the same time. She said, "Yeah, you'll always be his little girl in daddy's eyes. So yeah, no matter how old you get, you're never gonna grow up. You're always gonna be his little girl. The first time that you can walk on your own, that's gonna be where you stay at in his eyes." Yeah, she says, "And I'll always be his little girl. It's just I've never been the girl being a CEO, and I want a family." Well, in order for you to that mindset is fantastic for a 36-year-old man, because that's what men are looking for at 36 years old, is a woman that wants to be a family. She's not out there trying to party and waste all the money. She's trying to um fix, we're looking at him keeping track, she wants to be that family bred person. We typically only find that mindset in the Philippines, so the fact that we found one here in America, that's fantastic. uh he makes more than me, so in my eyes, he's the main provider. He's supposed to, that's what we expect men to do, is be the one that brings in the most money in a relationship. He said he doesn't mind if I want to be a housewife or if I want to continue working. I'm still thinking about which to choose though, because my mom wants me to keep working um, even after I have kids. Uh, have the kids first, see how you feel, and then once the kids are old enough to be self-sufficient, still that could be single digits. Now you want probably out of diapers but self-sufficient, then you can pay for a babysitter and a housekeeper, somebody who can keep the house clean and take care of the kids while you're gone, and then you can get back into your career. um, More often than not, though, women who give birth and start developing a family retire out of their career, and that's the reason why a lot of women are less willing to start a family before they chase their career. They want to be as successful as they can in life first, and then rethink their ideas about motherhood, or like you were saying earlier, decide to either follow the motherhood path and give up on their dreams, or follow their dreams and give up on the motherhood path, where the motherhood path is a dream too. So my recommendation is, because you there's also an alternative. You could put a few dozen eggs on ice, chase your career, and then down the line get you a surrogate, and then you can afford to pay for the nannies and the health care. But again, you're not taking care of the kid. Somebody else is taking care of the kid while you're at work. You just have a kid at the house, that, like a dog, that you can play with whenever you're not at work, because someone else is going to be taking care of your kid while you and your husband are both at work. So you got to think about that. Michael's saying something that I live on. He says, "Go live life. It is short. Before you know it, you will be 70." He knows because he's been doing this for 71 years. I think he would be the husband would, or the boyfriend, fiance guy would be more of the CEO type. She said that she's not one yet. She hasn't started trying to be one yet. She was thinking about that, trying to go down that route. Thanks for your advice. I wanted to get a man's opinion, view outside of my family, and I would ask advice from my friends, but they keep telling me to leave him. Oh, you don't listen to women under 50, okay, for advice, because, and I have nothing against women. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe and utilize those reaction buttons. Are somewhere on the screen here. But I'm going to be honest with you, women promote women to make volatile decisions. And I'm not bashing women, but this is the thing. Women tell women to make volatile decisions. They will tell you to destroy your happiness, that you deserve better. And that is not the truth. If you are happy where you are, stay where you are. The conflict of interest that you have is your father's insecurity about the situation. You do not have a bad relationship. So you should be able to maintain your relationship and then ask your father to respect your decision. And then the quantity of frequency that you bring your family to your father is going to hinge on your father's behavior. Now, one of the things that's going to change is when your father becomes a grandfather, he's not going to care about that man. He is going to want his grandchild to come over to the house. And the man brings the grandchild over to the house. And that is going to form a whole nother bond between your father and your husband. So you don't listen to women under 50 that are going to give you volatile advice. If they're going to tell you to destroy your happiness, that's a bad decision to make. Um, and ladies, are here on this and that where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. This is, I said this earlier, not a red pill, blue pill, black pill podcast. We solely are about fixing the problem. We have an issue. It doesn't make sense. We don't know what to do about it. And I have done enough research about it to try to help you piece together a more profound dynamic to make this work. And then a lot of times people are looking for validation in their decisions because they want to make a certain step, but they're not sure if it's the right one. I can tell you right now, you being 24, sticking with a man that's 35, it is the best decision that you can make if he's financially stable and he's taking good care of you. Um, yeah, Michael says, soon as she disagree with her friends, Michael's like, I can tell she's educated. I honestly think my dad would really like my boyfriend. They're very much alike. Uh, my boyfriend isn't with modern women like my dad. He loves basketball and he's so handy. So, one thing, ladies, you will find the most good and bad decision that you will ever make in your life is that no matter what you try to do, you will always find yourself in a relationship with a man that is exactly or really, really close to your dad. Why is that? Because your dad is the first male role model in your life. Your dad is the first male behavior towards women in your life. How he treats you, how he treats your sisters, how he treats your mom, your aunt, your grandma. This is the first milestone that you use to determine what a good man is supposed to behave like. However, in catastrophic families, when dad doesn't behave correctly, women will still take that same image and then apply it to finding a man. They find a man that is their type that ends up being toxic and volatile because they grew up in a toxic and volatile environment and they thought that because that is how they saw men treat women, that that's how women are supposed to be treated, and they put themselves inadvertently in a negative situation because that's what they're used to being in. So your dad may have to come to terms with the fact that he has the same personality and traits and skill sets as your dad. Be that as it may, you recognize that he loves basketball and so does your dad. So if they have the same team, one way that you can get dad to bond with your boyfriend is to get some tickets to a game, give it to your dad and your boyfriend, and have them go to the game together. Again, you're going to develop a bonding moment. That's going to be one of the things that really sets the cake. And then if your boyfriend has season tickets to your dad's favorite team, that's going to make your dad his best friend, at least to start with, to go to the game. He said, I have everything. Michael playing. Thank you for your help. You're welcome. I guess I'll let things run its course. I'll also start to put my foot down on my brother's friends and family, even if they don't like him. They need to respect him. That is true. They do need to respect him. One of the things that you are supposed to do is protect the best interests of your investment, which is your man. And your man is going to do the same thing, protecting his investment, which is you. So he comes to your defense when his family's being unreasonable, and you come to his defense when your family's being unreasonable. And that's the us against the world mentality. Uh, Michael says women prefer to marry like their fathers. Yes, they do. They will. They will most of the time, unless they grew up without a father, then whatever male role model they had in their life, they're going to typically aim towards that. Oh, some tickets. Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, definitely. That'll work. Yeah, and they love the Chicago. I love the Chicago Bulls too. So the Bulls, the Lakers, I'm telling you, you get us some tickets, especially some really good tickets, good floor seats or something like that, and have them bring your dad there. I'm telling you, it'll work. He says, it's crazy how my family's so upset about this, but his family loves me and is always inviting me over, especially my husband's grandma and mother. Well, the women are going to love him because he's a responsible man, and that's hard to find in 2025. And women are attracted to stability, so you got a stable man. It's not likely to get his family and your family together up front, but you do have to, like I said, have the guys hang out more often. Bring them over. Invite your dad over to you and your boyfriend's house for game night when you're not taking them to the game in person. Things to that effect starts formulating bonds where y'all not talking about the relationship. You just come over and hang out, dad. That's it. Just come over and hang out. I want you to come and spend time with me and my family. Come and hang out, and dad'll come over, you know. And it's like we got the game on the TV. Get your dad's favorite drinks, whether it's beers, whether it's wine, whether it's scotch, whatever. Get your dad's favorite drinks, and then if your boyfriend and your dad drinks the same drinks, that's even better. You got a fridge full of your father's favorite drinks. You got the dad's favorite team on. Invite him over to the house. He should come, or go over to his house and bring 2 cases of his favorite drinks, and you're coming over to watch the game, and he will let you in. And then you let the men sit in the room and watch the game, and you and your mom go back and sit there and contemplate on how y'all can make this work even better. And that'll be the mission for y'all, and it'll work itself out. Remember to like and subscribe. He's gonna play some chess and go try and check on some breakfast. I really appreciate that. And remember to treat yourself with respect also. That's actually one of the great advice from Michael. I really appreciate that, Michael. Now, moving on. Now, the final mindset shift is to see vulnerability as a strength, which is what we were just talking about recognizing the differences between opening up and interacting with one another. The masculinity trap tells us that we need to be flawless and stoic. And you're welcome very much. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel and come back frequently. We talk about different things throughout the week. Tomorrow is questions and comments from the fans, but we talk about finances Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, ways to make money, invest money, political changes in our government. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we talk about ways to make yourself better and improve the decision making process for both men and women in the backward social dynamic that we have. And we try to make it make sense throughout the show. Um, it give you a good laugh. I love that. I try my best to help people have fun while learning because I'm also a teacher. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a fantastic day because I work until 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So when I finish what I'm doing, I'm going straight to work. So it was a pleasure, Miss Sus. I will hopefully see you again. Now, the flawless stoic personality is a lie, and it's the lonely lie that we experience. True confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of it. So true strength isn't hiding your emotions, it's having the courage to express them appropriately. Being vulnerable, sharing your real thoughts, admitting you're not sure about something, talking about your passions, and genuine enthusiasm is the only path to real connections, which is what we just experienced here on the show today. It's a filter. Posturing might attract a superficial connection, but authenticity attracts a genuine one. So once your mindset is right, you can start using practical strategies that align you with new empowered approaches. And these are not quick fixes, but long term habits that will improve your dating life and your overall quality of life. So the single most effective strategy is what I call offline offense. And it's the ultimate solution to online dating problems. um, she says, you definitely got yourself a subscriber. I'll try to update in the near future. Oh, of course. I look forward to hearing about how things work out. And we're live 7 nights a week. We typically start at about 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, and between 11:30 and 12 Eastern Standard Time, and we typically run it for about 2 hours at least. And we're on 7 nights a week. So if you hit a notification button, go to the channel, look at all the stuff that we've got coming up. You can go back and look at some of the things that we've already covered, and you might actually find some other things that helps you in life with making decisions that benefits other areas that you didn't even think of. Go scroll through the channel when you do log off and go see other stuff that you can benefit from here, because I got financial advice that your husband can use. I've got international advice that you guys can benefit from. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Now, This is going to be that ultimate solution to the problem that is making a minor part of your life not a centerpiece. We're going to be trying to remove you from being online because a lot of people make their online presence their entire life. So you need to prioritize real world in person interactions over online internet interactions. Now, this directly combats loneliness and puts you in a situation where connections can happen organically. And there is a big difference because the all of the people that you're communicating with online. You could be, I'm communicating with hundreds of people online on a regular basis, but the fact is, I'm in a room by myself, so I cannot say that I have a fulfilling interaction with all of the people that I'm talking to online because these are people online. When I start putting effort into spending time with people in person, I will have a more fulfilling experience. So you got to make a list of things that you're generally interested in. Always wanting to learn how to rock climb could be something. Joining a climbing club would be a solution. Enjoy hiking is an idea. Join a hiking club. That helps out. If you're passionate about a cause, you can volunteer for that cause. Don't take time off from work to go and be a protester, but definitely go and try to find ways to work towards whatever that cause might be. If you take cooking classes, you can join a co-ed sports league, a bowling league, chess club, try an improv class, karaoke night. The activity itself matters less than three things. You genuinely enjoying it, it happens consistently, and it involves other people. This strategy is brilliant because it removes the pressure of the cold approach. So you're therefore a shared activity. So conversations start naturally. And that's why I was recommending have dad and the boyfriend go to the game together because instead of forcing a conversation, the conversation will naturally start throughout the game. The game is going to be 2 hours long, and in person, it might be 3 hours. So, during the game, they will communicate. They'll communicate about games. They'll communicate about other teams. They'll go from basketball to football. We are in football season right now. Then they're gonna go from that to other stuff, and then they'll start talking about personal things. This is going to allow you to get to know people over time, building a rapport that is impossible on an app. Most importantly, even if you don't meet a romantic partner, you will make friends and you will have fun. And that is a win for you either way. Next, if you do use dating apps, use them strategically and with strategic non negotiable expectations. They are tools, not a lifestyle. So you want to set a timer for no more than 15 or 20 minutes a day. Endless swiping is a waste of your mental energy. Your goal on an app is singular. Get off the app and into a real life interaction as efficiently as possible. If a match doesn't lead to planning a date within a few days, move lead to you ghosting people as much as they ghost you. But your profile should be an honest reflection of who you are. So the goal isn't to appeal to everyone, it's to attract the right person. Having it in your bio that you're serious about in person engagements leads them to understand that within a few conversations, you're looking to meet up. So this means that the person that you're communicating with must be in the general vicinity of where you are because you're not trying to fly to the other side of the world to have one date. Finally, practice the art of conversation and connect skill. This is a soft skill, but this is a skill and it can be learned. Forget pickup lines. Pickup lines used to work back in the 70s and 80s. In 2025, that is not going to work for you. The key to a great conversation is to get out of your own head and become genuinely curious about the other person. I told you guys before on the show, and we've got the video still up. They've got this lady who made these cards called Dating Assassin, and they ask you very interesting. Oh man, look at this question here. Are you cheap? I'm like, what? they ask you very interesting questions um, that helps you get a better insight of somebody's inner self. And the thing is that you wouldn't think to ask these questions on a regular basis, but there's 150 questions here. And if you played this game with your friends and family or on a first date, you could bring this deck of cards with you. It was last seen as, I do believe, 29.99 for the deck of cards. It's pretty cheap. Might be 19.99. She probably will drop the price. I got to go back and check her website. But I have links to her website on the Dating Assassin video in my channel. So if you just Google assassin, Google the word assassin or Google the word dating assassin on my platform, and that video will pop up. And then you go to the description and click that link, take you straight to the woman's platform, and you can pick up that deck of cards, and that'll give you something to do on a date. But the fact is that you'll start building that genuine conversation, and you getting to know somebody as opposed to just entertaining them, which is what we talked about earlier this week. Your goal is not to entertain the other person. Your goal is to get to know this other person and determine if this is the type of person that is beneficial to your objectives and your agenda. Just like the young lady here that wants to start a family and maintain a decent career and have a supporting husband. She found a man that's willing to provide her that. That is the goal when you're dating, is to make sure that you got the right one before you commit to it. Entertaining each other, watching TV together, which is going to the movies, not knowing that this person is the one for you. You got to ask those open ended questions, listen to their answers. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. And a great conversation is a dance of give and take, built on mutual curiosity and respect. So when you ask them a question and you give them and they give you an answer, then your response to that answer is not to one up them. Your response to that answer might be to relate, or your response to that answer is to provide your own personal perspective from the same question, because you're trying to get to know each other and make sure that your interests align somewhat. A great conversation will give you curiosity that you didn't think to look into had you just thought, oh, he's a good dancer or he's funny. Right. But can he handle a pretty decent portfolio? Can he balance your budget? If you guys have a kid in the next 4 years, your kid will have a stock option that you didn't have. Would you be able to afford to invest in that? No. If that's not the case, then you might not have the right person. So you got to pay attention to things. The unspoken superpower, all of this is support. The idea is that you have to figure this all out alone is an outdated relic idea. You don't want to do that. Talk to trusted friends. Come talk to me. If your friends aren't giving you the advice that you need, come talk to me, because this is what I do. If the anxiety is persistent, consider speaking with a therapist and joining a men's group, which is what she did today, because this is a 72% male driven podcast from the male's perspective. And if by joining a men's group, you can be incredibly powerful towards connecting with others facing the same challenges and get advice from the male's perspective, because men are fixers, men are builders. That's not the same from the opposite sex. Women are not building stuff. Women want stuff to be built. They want the end goal, but not all of them know how to get there. Men only know how to build things and don't know why they're building it. Men only know how to fix things and don't really know why they're fixing it, outside the fact that it needs to be fixed. And that's how men and women can come together, because she wants something to be built. He knows how to build it. She wants something to be fixed. He knows how to fix it. That's where the symbiotic relationship comes in. Now, this isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of profound strength. And I want you guys to make sure that if anything in tonight's show is resonating with you, if you felt that frustration and loneliness before, I want you guys to do two things. First, uh, follow what Sus and Michael did. Leave comments and share one specific thing that you found challenging about modern dating. Because when you read the comments, you will see with your own eyes that you are not alone. And there is a lot of power in that alone. Then I want to remind you guys one more time to make sure that you take the time to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button because we're building a community here to have these honest conversations and explore real strategies for navigating modern life and relationships together. So, why are so many men struggling with dating in 2025? Well, the truth is, the deck has been stacked against men for a very long time. You're navigating a dating landscape dominated by platforms designed to keep you hooked, not happy, all while juggling a heavy burden of social pressure and societal loneliness, recognizing that this isn't admitting defeat, it's understanding the battlefield so that you can choose your strategy wisely. The path forward isn't about becoming a different person, it's about becoming more of who you already are. This is about shifting your focus from chasing an outcome that you cannot control to mastering a process that you can. So, just like the young lady that was on the show, it's not about getting your dad to like the guy. It's about having them hang out in the same place at the same time frequently until you guys get married. And then hopefully continue to hang out with each other frequently long after you guys been married because that's the core. The interaction itself is the core to developing the like. The like doesn't come from first sight, especially with men. It does when a man likes a woman, when he's attracted to a woman. The like doesn't come from first sight when one guy's observing another guy. The like comes from recognizing that we both are doing a good job enjoying this activity together. That's when men start bonding. And then the sacrifices that men do for one another formulates that friendship and generates that bond. It's about building a life so full of purpose and connection that a romantic partner becomes a wonderful addition, not a desperate necessity. The game may be rigged, but you can choose to play a different one. A game where the goal isn't just to win a partner, but to build a life that you're proud of. And this life is the life that you will live going forward. And when you do that the right way, the right people will be drawn to your world that you've created. And that's one of the things that I've told people a lot of times that are anti-socialist, the people who hate their government and this, that, and the third. It's like, bro, society is built off of people. Therefore, you yourself dictate how many people will be involved in your decisions, your life, your interactions. You yourself control that outcome. So if you don't like the society that you're in, you change the society by changing the way you interact with your society. You change the society. Sometimes you might have to move. You might not like your government in the city and state that you're in. Move to a different city and state where they're less volatile. The whole country can't be corrupt at the same time because America is supposed to be the best place to go from every country around the world. So if everybody's flocking to the United States, there's something about this place that is worth hanging on to. And any anti nationalist that isn't trying to figure out what that is missing out because they're not even applying themselves to change their first person accountable decisions that they can control to a level where they can see results. And that is something that not too many people think about. Now, like I told you guys before, I got a 2 a.m. that I got to take care of right now, and we got about 15 minutes to get there. So, what I want to do is I want to thank you guys for coming to tonight's show. Ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you, ladies, to make it make sense. Remember, we do not let the sun rise without going live, and we are live 7 nights a week. So, we should be starting close to on time tomorrow night, around about 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I want you guys to like and subscribe. I want you guys to make sure that you share this with somebody that you know that needs it, somebody that you know that's to argue against it, because I take all challenges. But fellas, 72% male podcast from the male perspective. We do this for you guys to help you guys become higher value men. And likewise, we also provide you guys with enough information for ladies, y'all, to learn this and apply this in your own lives as well, to help you ladies become higher value women as well. Once you change your decision making, you will change from the things you don't like about your life to the things that you do, therefore eliminating the stress in your personal life where you can focus more on your finances. When you change the decisions that you make that negatively impact your finances, then you have more finances that you can invest in savings, where you have more savings that you can invest in your future. That way your future becomes better. The closer you get, when you're making your later greater, when your later becomes today, when your future becomes your now, you're in a better spot than what you were in the past, and you have less stress. When your finances are no longer stressing you out, you can focus on your personal life. When your personal life is no longer stressing you out, you can focus on your financial life. Overall, you have a less stressful life, and now you're happier than what you were before you started. So make sure that you follow us on a regular basis so that you can come and learn all of the things that are possible to improve the way that you do you. And if there's anything, just like the young lady that came on the show today, if there's anything that's going on in your life that concerns you, that you wish could be different, just come and ask. Is there a way to do differently about it so that you can approach the situation and see a better outcome? You cannot control other people, but what you can do is you can control what you do, and you can mitigate what people are allowed to do around you. So if you've got family and friends that ain't acting right, it's like, look, I only come around when y'all act right. So I come around less when y'all don't act right. So if you want me to come around, you got to behave a certain way for me. This is the trade-off. I have non-negotiable expectations for behavior. And I tell people all the time to make sure that they find and enforce their non-negotiable expectations for behavior, because this prevents people, because it's not putting up barriers and boundaries. People say use your boundaries, use your boundaries. Boundaries are putting up invisible walls in between you and the people that matter to you most. You do not want boundaries. You have non-negotiable expectations for behavior, because this is how you will behave around me if you are going to behave around me. We are not discussing that. I'm not flexing on this. Non-negotiable expectations for behavior. Now, I can't control what you do, but I choose not to be around you if you do not respect this. Now, if that person values you, they will change. If they don't, they will not. And because they don't, you will not be around them, which means you still have peace. Either way, you will not allow yourself to be psychologically, emotionally, or physically abused. I discourage it from either side of the fence. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for this and that, for coming to this and that. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.